It's Tuesday, October 14th. Here's what we're looking at. We've got severe weather possible today. Also, maybe even into the weekend as a storm moves to the east. We're going to talk about all of those details and some storms possible today, tomorrow, even the following day as this strong storm that's moving into the west coast pushes through the mountains and into the plains. High pressure building into parts of the east. We're drying out along the east coast where we've had a lot of battering with wind and rain. Temperatures also cooling down here into parts of the northeast. Showers moving up into parts of the central plains toward the Great Lakes. Now, rain chances will be going up toward the Great Lakes, but this system that's moving east will start to fizzle out some. You're really waiting on this system back across the west, which is bringing the rain and snow here to move east before the rain starts to pick up. And we'll see that likely by about Thursday. A strong storm swinging into the Gulf of Alaska, bringing a lot of wind, a lot of rain. Places like Anchorage are getting battered right now, and some snow into the interior areas. That drops all the way down into parts of British Columbia as we head through Thursday. The cold air is really locked up here right now. We're not digging that south. That's really not going to happen, let's face it, until November into December. But when these cool shots of air do move south, we see a taste of fall. And I think we're going to see that at least for a good part of the south as we head toward the 24th, 25th, 26th, as we get, again, into the end of the month. Now, this storm moves east. One thing to watch would be the severe storms on the front side of this heading into Saturday, depending how this jet stream moves through here, this piece of energy diving south, and also sort of a negatively tilted trough in the upper levels. So to me, this looks like a period to watch as we head into the weekend. So those storms here across southern Illinois, down into Missouri, the Storm Prediction Center already watching this time frame for Saturday. So to see this in this kind of format, let you know something could be up this weekend, so stay weather aware. Let's start out west. We're going to work our way across the country. As this storm plows through California, we're going to see the snow. It's heavy. It's going to continue. Elevations above 6,500 feet. We'll see the heaviest snow. Snow levels could drop as low as 5,500 feet, but couple of feet possible, especially once you get into the highest elevations. This continues to drive east. Snow starts to pick up here into parts of the Wasatch, north up into Wyoming, Montana. Lower elevations, we're going to see rain, but as this upper low swings through, those snow levels will start to come down. Overall, though, still a little too warm for a lot of snow in the deeper valleys, but then we start to dry out as we head into Friday, and this storm pushes east. Relatively quiet across the west, at least through the weekend, and then we're watching our next storm move into the Pacific Northwest. It's going to bring some rain and snow into the Cascades, into parts of British Columbia, maybe some snow too into parts of the Canadian Rockies heading into the weekend, into the first of next week. Once we get rid of the snow in the Sierra, it moves east. Again, it's going to be confined to the high elevations here into the Wasatch, but the heaviest snow will be north, again, up into western Wyoming, eastern Idaho, here into parts of southern Montana, southwest Montana to be specific. Here's a look at your temperatures. We're cooling down. Look at Salt Lake City, for example. For today, we're warm and pleasant into the 60s. As this system drives into the mountains tomorrow, we'll barely get out of the 40s. Temperatures on the way down, too, for places like Colorado, further to the east, too, into parts of Wyoming, Montana, South Dakota. You can see your numbers going down somewhat as we head through the week. Again, the strongest storms today possible across parts of New Mexico. Flooding rain, always a concern when you get strong storms into the southwest. That severe risk tomorrow does lift further to the north as our system kicks out of the Rockies further to the east. Let's look at these storms and we'll time it out for you as we go through today. Rain lifting north, kind of wet across Minnesota, back into South Dakota, up into North Dakota. That rain pushing toward the Great Lakes, but like I said, it's starting to fall apart as it moves towards Wisconsin and Michigan. And then as we head into Wednesday morning, everything starting to settle down some. Backing it up just a little bit, there's those storms across the southwest. You can see the precipitation also across Colorado. The big storms going this afternoon across New Mexico, again, will need to be monitored for any downpours, heavy rain, flooding. And I'm going to move this forward in time kind of quickly. There comes those storms as we head into Wednesday afternoon across Colorado, lifting north into Wyoming, eastern Wyoming, into parts of South Dakota. Some of those could be on the strong to severe side, and there's the snow element of it, the cold side of the storm, back across Wyoming into parts of Idaho, and that snow could be heavy into the mountains, and then our storms kick off to the east. Now, a lot of the energy is moving north, so your severe risk may be a little bit lower than it could normally be, maybe with this type of setup. You also are waiting on that energy to drop in from the north and west, and that's why that severe risk heading into the weekend is really going to be, I think, focused just a little bit further to the east. Here's a look at your temperatures. We are going to be warming up the further north you go. Now, kind of cool today across parts of the northern tier as we head into Wednesday. Numbers really climbing back up into the 80s across Iowa. that warm air continues to surge north. Look at that, back up into the 70s, upper 70s for southern Minnesota. The cool air, though, working to the south and east as we head into Friday, now especially into Saturday. So we'll be back into the 30s and 40s for lows, highs in the 40s and 50s. And that cool air also pushing a little bit further to the south now as we head into Sunday. But the overall trend right in here is for warmer weather. You're going to have to wait a little while. This next front that is poised to move through sometime around the middle of next week. I just want to let this roll out and show you how the European is picking up on some low temperatures. Look at this, dropping into the 40s in Texas. Is it true? We'll have to wait and see. But looking, just over a week from now, high temperatures could be drastically different than they are right now with 50s and 60s. That's still pretty far out, but there are signs that have been pointing toward a cooler end of the month, and it seems to be showing up. All right, let's take you through what's left of Tuesday whenever you're watching this. And by the way, if you're looking for winter weather, I know that's not a huge winter shot. We do a winter weather update every week here on the channel, so subscribe and come back. Another one coming out very soon. It's almost time to take another look at where that Siberian snowpack is. The rain moving away from the East Coast. There comes those showers towards the Great Lakes, and then otherwise relatively dry. Now, watch this up here in Maine. We talked about this a little bit yesterday as we head into Thursday. There could be enough cold air that a little bit of snow tries to mix in as this upper low and this low pressure swings just to your east. We'll have to wait and see. I don't think it's going to be much to write home about, but it gives you an idea that it's pretty cold up here and some chillier air trying to sneak in from the northeast. Once we get beyond this, I'm going to let this roll out now. Here comes your front heading into the weekend. Again, that severe risk right in here as we head into the Saturday time frame. Strong damaging winds. I think it's way too early to talk about the tornado risk, but clearly you'd want to watch a storm this strong. And if you get a jet streak swinging through, we'll have to see where all those elements are. And then as we head into Sunday, this continues to plow east. There's your trough, very negatively tilted. So, the timing is what's really, I think, keeping the severe risk down a little bit further to the east. But all this could shift. So we're talking about narrowing down between 12 hours, looking into the weekend. Still a lot of room for error and room for changes. So pay attention. And then, look, it's pretty far out, but I want to plant this. Negatively tilted trough, right? Watch out here from North Carolina, South Carolina, maybe even up into the mid-Atlantic for that severe risk heading into Sunday. And then, look, this is some cold air. The 540 line trying to show up here across parts of Pennsylvania. I think, your lower levels are going to be too warm for snow, but the fact that we're even thinking about that just gives you an idea of that cool air that's moving in. Here's a look at your temperatures today. Warm. You see where it is now. I want to take you way out in time too and show you the cool down that's on the way. We're going to roll pretty quickly. That cool air tries to work in from the north. That's that chilly air into Maine that could bring a little bit of rain mixing with snow. Look how cold it's going to get Friday morning though. That backdoor front, or at least that front dropping to the south, and that cool air pulling in like this as high pressure sets up to the west and really starts to drive that down from the north. We're back up into the 70s and maybe even close to 80 across parts of Michigan. Here comes your front heading into the weekend. By Monday morning, much cooler across this part of the country. Temperature dropping even into the south for highs. And then as we head into Tuesday, those numbers warm back up. But again, I'm going to show you this front that's at least trying to show up heading into next week. This could be your significant cool down for the deep south. You get this front that pushes all the way to the south. Now you're talking about temperatures next week instead of the 80s and 90s, maybe pushing back with highs in the 50s and 60s.